Calling all beings, y'all. Let's get it.
Put your hands together. Put your hands together.
Yeah! Welcome back to Calling All Beings. Today I'm calling all beings, aka Artisan DJ. Nathan didn't even mention.
I was looking at it. I was like, there's a joke here. Yeah.
If I'm making skincare formula, doesn't that make me an artisan?
You are an artisan, man. Everything is bespoke.
Like Nathan, I'll tell you what, Nathan, when I look at you, the word that pops into my head is bespoke. So that is my co-host and co-conspirator, Money Nathan. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good. Very excited for this show today.
Very excited. I'll tell you what. First, we're gonna introduce the other cabbies, and Nathan gonna make this announcement. Kevin, now that your computer speakers are off, you left the conditioner in your hair, which I think looks great. Hi.
Oh, hey, how's it going, guys? How's it going? What's up?
He looked like the dude from Caddyshack, the gopher.
Kind of practicing my faces, you know. Those voice actors, they make those faces, you know, when they talk.
Incredible range, Kevin.
Thanks.
And our researcher, Deb, the woman who is all over the place in the phenomenon. She's got it on lock. She also is the host of Deb's Data Dojo. Hi, Deb.
Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, ma'am. We're excited to talk to the F-16 legend. Now, Nathan got an announcement he finna make.
Indeed, I do. So our show, Calling All Beings, has been doing shows for a while now. And as many of you know, we are very blessed to have another show that is a part of our kind of family of content, Deb's Data Dojo.
Yeah!
Over here, this one. Excellent content. If you haven't checked out Deb's Data Dojo, please
Thank you,
do
Nathan.
so. It is on our podcast feed and is packed chock full of content. There is no shortage of excellent material there. But we are excited to announce today that we are adding another collection to our group, and that is Shane and Allison from The Secret Knowledge.
Yeah!
A big shout out to them. I know a lot of you may not have
Allison.
heard of their content, but it's awesome, and you will hear of it because it's very, very good. So you'll be seeing their content on our podcast feed and on our sort of YouTube playlist as well. And we'll be having them on. We actually just had them on not long ago on our show, and you'll be seeing more of them as we go on. So our little family is growing, and we're excited to announce that today.
Yeah, so definitely two people, both of them former college English teachers, one creative writing, the other one from the poetry slant, Shane, at Southern Missouri. These guys they're very prepared. They're super intelligent. They're fun. They may not be that well known now, but we think they will be. I think they will be, and I don't care if they are not. I wanted them to be part of this because, again, we're not here to be famous. We're here to have great conversations. We thought that we were going to have a great conversation with them. We did, and as soon as we got off air, we had a meeting about having them join our little cab podcast network, which is really nothing to change the universe. We're really just a collection of people that we can enjoy talking to and bring other people into our spreading the positivity and our values and bring other people into the circle. That's all it is. So with that, Nathan, let's bring him on. All right.
We got to.
This brother right here is my brother from the USAF. He's my brother in aviation. He's my brother in phenomenology. And he's my brother in open-minded thought. So party people, put your hands together for the F-16 pilot, Mr. Chris Lehto!
Lehto!
Give it up for Lehto!
How are you?
Yes!
Welcome.
Chris,
Drive.
Good to see you. Good to have you with us.
my brother.
Fun, man.
Hey,
Glad to
Chris.
be back.
I'll tell you what, it's been a while, man, since we had you on with Troy. I just got a text from Troy the other day. He's probably flying his ass off with FedEx right now, going across the pond. But I had a question for you to kick things off, Chris. I know that you have a project going on with Alexei. I rewatched your episode with Artisan Tony. That's why I'm Artisan DJ today, because I make skincare formula. I mean, from scratch, and I think that qualifies me, right, as an artisan. Maybe no. What?
Yes.
What? Come on. All right.
What do you make? What is this? Hold on.
DJ skincare formula. Anybody?
pending.
Yeah.
He's not joking either.
No,
it's
I'm
real.
not.
Yeah.
I don't have a can of it.
I think it counts.
With
No, that's
me, but
legit.
yeah, I make
Yeah.
it from scratch.
good
And
stuff.
It counts.
Nathan has some, and
Smells great.
Is it good?
Yeah, and also.
Are there any
Claire has some.
benefits?
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
If you see a photo of me from 10 years ago, my face when I was active duty, and see my face today, I probably look younger today. I swear.
What's in it? What?
Sunflower oil. Shea
Don't give it
butter
all away,
from-
DJ. Not
No,
all of it.
hidden.
it says on the can what's in there. Anybody's free to do that. I don't,
All right, it's
you know,
up to
make
you.
your own. Organic sunflower oil, organic shea butter from Ghana, organic beeswax, and I put an essential oil in it called On Guard from doTERRA. So
I know that essential oil.
So
Yes.
those ingredients is all that it is. But
It has
I've been-
peppermint and something else in it, right?
It has several different oils. It's a
Yes.
confluence of oils that they put
cool.
together, and it works great.
Yeah.
I mean, you can drink doTERRA On Guard if you put it in water. But anyway, so I'm an artisan. I mean, Artisan
It counts.
Tony, what's up, brother? So anyway,
I hope Artisan Tony is here. Is he here?
I wish he
Seen him
was.
in the-
I'd
in
like
the
to
room
meet
yet,
him.
but he might be. I don't know.
But anyway, Chris, so, you know, given that you're starting this, you have this collaboration with Alexei, which I think is amazing because you guys were so great on air together. Do you, given the incredible hair game that he has, do you feel any pressure to up your hair game in order to hang out with Alexei? Do you feel any sense of responsibility there?
That's actually a pretty good question. I think I'm good.
Okay, so I mean, if you
He
need
wears
any,
hats a lot.
if
I
you-
met him in
And the
person. We
scarf,
hung out.
too. Yeah.
We had this amazing romantic night in Disney World. I went to Disney World in January, like during the height of the pandemic. We did our family, once in a lifetime trip there, and met with Alexei.
Mhm.
And he had this. He invented or created an electric hoverboard, which is an electric skateboard, right? And you have a little controller on it that makes it go faster or slows you down going down hills. It's actually very useful. And so we rode it all around, the outer areas of Universal Studios. Sorry, it was Universal Studios. And we saw like this big fire in the sky or something. He's like, "What's that?" I swear to God. And like, I'm like, "I don't know." And it looked like a comet, like going really slow. If it was, some sort of SpaceX reentry thing. And to where I was like, "Everybody start filming." I like yelled to everybody around. Like, I was like, "I'm a UAP investigator." And I like ran out.
All
And
right,
everybody looked at me like that was crazy, man. They just like ran off. I was like, "No, you, I'm serious."
Everyone.
They
you sound
did-
like Johnny
people were
Utah.
not prepared. People did not help me. They ran out. Actually, and so we finished, and then we're like, "Hey, are we crazy, man?" Like, and this guy comes up and he's like, "Did you guys see that? What was that? Like a meteor or something?" So I don't know. You can ask Alexei about it, but
It's wild.
He's dope.
that was
So-
the one time we've hung out, man. And yeah, we're gonna hang out in the MegaCon. I put this up behind me. May 27th. He's coming up, man. We got an event planned. It's gonna be big.
You
We're not
guys
gonna
are
talk
headed
about
out
it.
to the ranch, man. You might be near the ranch, right?
It's hosted by Blind Frog Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
So
cool.
and it'll be at Blind Frog Ranch Outpost, which is like in Vernal, Utah. So I don't.
We will look forward to your updates there. And now that you've answered my ridiculousness, no mousse, no gel, no hair care, anything. Let me pass it over to Money Nathan.
Yeah, Chris, great to see you again. We usually end the show like this, but I would like to start the show like this. So tell us what you're working on right now, because I think a lot of the questions we're going to get into revolve around your current interests and not just like what you're studying, but the community that you're kind of building. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in your universe.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's been nonstop. I'm super excited about it, actually. So I started my YouTube channel, and the first videos I made was about NFTs, actually, and it was about blockchain technology. I was, wanted to be like maybe a futurist. I was kind of interested in that future technology. So and investing. So I was talking about why, I invested in Tesla and what the next technologies will basically be. The 5 kind of revolutionary technologies. And there's a big argument from ARK Invest that basically there's 5 main technologies that are coming together. It's basically artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, robotics, battery technology. And then the 5th one is, I can't remember. Anyway, blockchain technology. So really was what I kind of went through for my initial start of my channel. So I really researched it because I think it's the way of the future. It's Web 3.0 is really what it is. And NFTs is just one, I think, very important part of that whole revolution coming, essentially.
Well, when you say Web 3.0, and I've heard that used a lot, so can you distill that down? What does that mean for folks?
Yeah. So Web 1 is basically one-way information that was like dial-up. So you dial up, there's a simple web page there. You can't really interact with it, right? That was Web 1.0. Web 2.0 is basically what we're at right now. So basically it's we're interacting, but there's some sort of intermediary between us. It's still slow. It's like social media apps. You think of that. That's Web 2.0. The internet is, two-way. So Web 3.0 is basically going to be the next version of that. And so the idea is you're going to have verified trust in digital things. That's really what it brings, at least for NFT technology, is now we can actually verify things, and we can set up basically autonomous organizations where you can set up smart contracts where artists are paid. Right now, if an artist sells like a music as an NFT, it's working well in photography, right? They sell their art as a NFT. The cash comes right to them immediately to their wallet, wherever they are in the world, right? Basically last week I was at this big conference in Lisbon, and this artist, Carlos Manias, now he's a world famous NFT artist from Mexico, because he was crying there. Essentially, he said when he saw his art in a gallery in the metaverse, it basically made him cry because he was, it made such an impact. So Web 3.0 will be it'll link us directly to remove all the intermediaries. The problem is your bureaucracies is what's going to slow countries down. I think that's what's going to kill them. Really, it's the crushing bureaucracy that tumbles countries. So this effectively removes that. So whatever companies or countries will move to this quicker, right? They're going to be just that much level faster in magnitudes of speed of bureaucracy and much more efficient. So it's undoubtedly the future. I would bet my life on it at this point, honestly. The technology is there. So what I'm trying to do is use that decentralized technology and get in at the base level, right? Get in while they're creating the technology now and try and orient it towards like good, orient it towards open source, getting science information, right? Getting science for the people so we can build understanding and write ourselves into the future, write humans into the code, essentially, and to be good to the planet. Like I went to these last 2 conferences I went to. It was super fun. We're like it was like the amazing parties. It was like you were in San Francisco in 98, or 99, right before the big blow up. Everyone's so excited. The technology is obviously proven. But I didn't see one mention of the word science, and I didn't see one mention of the word education. It was sports, casino gambling, pay to earn games, play to earn.
What did that say to you, Chris? If I can,
I almost wanted to stand up and just yell DeSci. Like I'm gonna do that at the next conference, man. If there's not the word science up there, I'm gonna yell DeSci. So we're trying to create decentralized science, right? Because DeFi, if you're in the crypto world at all, which you will be soon. Okay. DeFi, they talk about. Just wait. So DeFi is what everybody's talking about, decentralized finance. And that's been the huge buzzword now.
Yeah.
But no one's even heard of DeSci, right? In the crypto world, because it doesn't exist, because they don't give a shit. You know, they're just like doing the same thing we've always done. We're going to optimize for profit. You know, we're not going to consider the planet. I mean, they mention it. They talk about ecological things, you know, but yeah, anyway, that's the whole project, is to start. And I think we can leverage this whole decentralized movement, leverage the technology, create a community focused on getting the truth, right, through evidence, scientific evidence. And it can't be censored, right? Because if it's decentralized, it can't be censored. And anyone on the globe with an internet connection can participate. You know, if you can get to an internet connection, you can create a wallet, and now you can purchase. If you can get money into the crypto system, now you can purchase an NFT. You can participate, you can join, and that money will be used to find evidence. And if that NFT goes up in value, then you can sell it for profit. Mm-hmm. So, and the number one thing they're looking for in a successful project, the investors, the NFT investors, the traders, is a strong community, right? A community devoted to the mission, really, is what they're looking for. That's the one thing they're looking for. So that's all we need, is to create a strong community that's really just there, because the scientists are already there. You already have UAPX. You know, we have all these smart superstar scientists. What do they need? Funding, right? They can't get enough money. There's just not enough funding anywhere to do it. So the point is, bring them to the community, bring everybody to the community who wants it, and then now create the community of open source information, and the NFT money will flow in. Like, we will use the initial money to market into the NFT community. And if they see a strong community there, then it can easily work. It can easily work. I mean, there's just so much BS in the NFT space. That's why everyone thinks it's BS, because there's so much bullshit. Like, because you can just create a product immediately, you know, and there doesn't have to really be anything behind it. Most of these people aren't even doxxed, you know, they're not even online. Nobody knows who they are, you know, and they just you can create just pop up things very easily, quickly, and then just run, and nobody knows who you really are. But we're coming out the gate, like, here we are, right? Here's the people, you know, just bring the money, and we can decentralize it and for science. So we're going to launch this very soon. And so it's going to be on the Discord. It's going to be started on the Discord. That's where the community is going to be. And that's how we'll use that to communicate, to vote for. You can put science proposals up there. Like, say you have some proposal for whatever you're going to do scientifically. And now you can put it up there, and we can vote as a community. And with the funds now, you can use NFTs. We still need to establish this, but that is what a DAO is, a decentralized autonomous organization. Use these NFTs to invest the funds. So basically, that's how it is. Okay. Yeah. Here's the question: is what is the best place to invest money right now if you want to take part in getting evidence for UAPs or finding the truth? What's your best avenue?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, without knowing a lot about what you just talked about, I would say either UAPX or Galileo, right?
Yeah, but how do you give it to them? I guess you could fund UAPX.
Right. That's a good question. I mean, I guess you could cut them a check and just hope that you use the funds wisely, right?
Yeah. But then you don't have any say really in how it's even executed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because then they have to sign NDA agreements, right? Because maybe they're not funded correctly, you know. So then you wait. But in this instance, you can invest right into an NFT. 50% of the funds will automatically go, or it's at the max we can possibly do. Right. I still need to incentivize people to want to go for profit, you know,
Sure.
Because it has to be profitable. If it's not profitable, it's not going to happen. Right.
Right.
You know, that's the problem. Because like our science funding right now, the universities are going under essentially because they're for profit. Right. But the science is not. The science is not for profit. The only ones like funding the science is your like fossil fuel companies and your weapons manufacturers.
Right.
You know. So this would be a way to put the money in, and it's open source, so you can see what the projects are funded, because it's in the end it should be decentralized.
So
Right.
Chris, the issue with the NFT cash in and the guy that was profiled on Netflix who died in India, that was like an intermediary company, right, where you would use him to cash out Is that what that was? Are you familiar with that documentary? Is anyone
I'm
here
not.
familiar with
Yeah,
that
I don't
documentary?
I've
know.
not seen it. No.
Yeah, it's very recent, but it's a young man who had a company, and I would have to Google it while somebody's talking. But basically, it was a company that was allowing you, like, there was a guy in San Francisco. He needed to cash out like $400K worth of his Bitcoin, and it ended up that guy took the money, but then was gone, and nothing happened. He never got his money. That guy ended up going on a trip to India, and sadly, tragically, maybe not for some of the people he built, but he died while he was in India. And so anyway, I didn't know if that's like the cash out services. Is that a thing? Like, are you aware of cash out services? How you transfer your money into actual cash?
I mean, I think that's the hardest part right now. Is once your money is into the system, it's called fiat, right? Once your fiat is turned into crypto, now it's super liquid. You can move it around. You can do whatever you want with it in just a few minutes. Really. Yeah. And so, but the problem is if you want to use it in the real world, until there's crypto services that accept crypto, right? I think, Tesla said they were going to accept Bitcoin last year, and that kind of went everything up in a tizzy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then they would be able to pay direct from crypto to crypto and not having to go into fiat.
Right.
Because that's where the governments, since they're behind the ball, right? They taxed us all for crypto last year, but they didn't provide any security, right? We still get scammed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or did, but they taxed us. The governments, they know all the fiat ways. They know how the banks work. They know how to track you down, how to audit you, and everything. So that's really the sticking points where it's getting money into the system and getting money out of the system. But if you're like out in the middle of Africa, just go with crypto. Right. You can accept crypto. Someone comes around, here's some crypto,
Right.
As long as they accept it at the next spot over, here's some Bitcoin. That's why you wouldn't even need any governments at that point. If you consider it, that's what terrifies them, is we're not needed.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you'd still be needed to regulate it, because at any point someone could just grab you, bring you over to the console or whatever and steal all your money, just, hey, send this to me. I mean, we still need governments. It's just it's gonna be very uncomfortable for them not telling us exactly how to control all the money, or at least right now they haven't built in the hooks.
Mm-hmm.
Central bank, World Bank type stuff, right?
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, that's XRP. I met those guys at the conference. They're doing all the underlying super low cost transaction stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they're doing that behind the scenes, and they're really just delaying everything else. So if it was hard for you to get, buy crypto, it's probably because the governments were just trying to slow it down, because they're just, I guess, slower, lazier. I don't know what it is. They know they're governments, so they can move slower and just tell us what not to do. But that's the XRP behind it. I forget what they're called. It's some compliant, PSS compliant or something. Yeah.
Well, we got to turn it over to Flair, and I have a feeling that he is going to do what aircraft can't do. He's going to make a 90-degree right angle turn into the phenomenon.
See people getting zoning out. Yeah.
I love it. I could talk about that stuff for a long time. But yeah.
No, it's fascinating because you're on the front end of something, and we recognize that.
Awesome. Yeah, we need you guys in the community. That's it. I need you guys. If you guys all come together and put your money where your mouth is and your mouth where your money is, then we can. It'll work. It'll work. And there's a chance. If it works, it goes big. Like, it will go big. Like, we want to sell it to you guys, to the initial guys for 0.1 ETH. It's pretty much the cheapest we can possibly make it. But if it could easily go to 1, 2, 10 ETH even.
It's exciting.
Yeah. If it does, it'd be awesome. So then everybody would be very happy, and everybody would be very happy. Cool. That's it. Sorry.
Oh, right, man. You're the guest.
You're on restriction now, Lehto. No more NFTs.
Put him in timeout.
No more pitching.
Right.
We're sending you back
supposed to be talking, bro.
We're sending you over to the command post, and you're going to be there for the next week. You're off the flying schedule. I'm just kidding.
That's right.
Go ahead, Kev.
You're grounded.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that means something else for a pilot. Sorry.
Yes, yeah, that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, I won't say that.
You're not grounded. You're just gonna work in the command post.
Right.
It does hurt.
right.
I felt a little twinge. Like,
I saw that on your face. You're like, oh.
You're still a Q1, Lehto. That's all I got to say on your check ride. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for your service, Chris. How's that?
yeah,
Cool.
welcome. Yeah.
Also, DJ, I wanted to thank you. And actually, while I'm doing that, thank my dad. He was Vietnam veteran. Thank you, Dad.
Nice.
So, that being said, Chris Lehto, hey, we're talking about community stuff anyway. So I have a question that it will fit in. So onto the community part. So we have a lot of different camps in the community. I noticed they break up, and you've got your people, the intergalactic travel people. You've got your consciousness people, and even the people going to the disclosure symposium. It's kind of it may become. I'm worried it may become that camp. So what are some of the ideas for you guys to maybe bring this topic to the mainstream instead of kind of keeping it small? Like, what are your plans to bring it out there? I mean, yeah, we've got TikTok, we've got so many different outlets now, and there's a whole young generation of people watching this stuff that we need to bring into this topic. So, yeah, what are some of the ideas you guys have?
Yeah, so we're driving to the Discord, right? So here's an idea. I was thinking about there's a game that we invented 2 weeks ago with the little blockchain group. I think I made it, but I made it from a study by Radin, Dr. Dean Radin. He's from the Ionic Science Institute of Ionic Sciences.
That's a perfect name, by the way, for that sort of vocation.
What?
Institute
of Noetic Sciences. Yeah.
It was started by Edward Mitchell, right?
That's right. Institute of Noetic Science. Yep.
Institute of Noetic Science. Yeah, interesting. I looked it up. Started by him. Interesting.
Nice.
So Radin, talking about consciousness, he did a study on the double slit, etc. But he also mentioned that there was another study they did that I call it the who's calling study, or who's going to text me next, right? So how it will work is, and we're creating it hopefully on the Discord, but I want to make some other apps, is basically like say I'm the contestant. Okay. So I'm isolated from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the four of you that I consider myself possibility to be psychic with, right? I think me and DJ for sure, Nathan probably just through our Bernardo Castrop kind of mental linkage. But probably harder with Kevin and Deb, right? Because I don't really know them.
Mm-hmm.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah,
but
but who knows? And so what happens is we do a random number generator, right? And you guys basically pick a number. You're 1, 2, 3, 4. You talking to Google. Hey, pick a number 1 through 4, and now the number's been selected. The person. So let's say it's DJ, right? Now I have to envision who's going to call me. So you guys all know, DJ, you get it in your mind like you're going to call me or text me. And then I select a number, right? Who I think is actually going to do it. So the number should be like 25% if we get enough statistical analysis, right? If we do over 30 events, the number should be 25% based on there not being actual telekinetic possibilities, right? According to Radin, it's actually 45% is what they found. So if we can do what I was thinking is like I'm trying to spread it on a TikTok. That was one idea, was to do like a TikTok viral meme game like that. That's fun to do and shows people that there's more to. It's like a simple experiment. If you can prove actually statistically that you can be telepathic with someone, that pretty much, answers a lot of questions that we have.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. Then it goes to, remote viewings possible.
Yeah.
And why don't we use it for good and for fun and do science on it, and then so that the Discord, they're trying to do it now. My French buddy's trying to build this on the Discord, this game, and so we have people come in, you go in there, you can do some little game like that. And then we would hopefully record the data. That's one idea.
Cool.
Yeah.
All
It's
right,
long and
Chris.
boring, I guess.
I mean-
no,
I need to work on that pitch.
no. I'm sorry, Kev. Did you have a follow up?
Um, not really. I mean, unless you guys were going to all start posting, karaoke videos. I mean, that's what that generation of TikTok's doing. You could do that. I mean, would you be
I
willing to
think
do
they're
that with
ahead of
Lou?
us.
Yeah, would you and Lou
Okay,
be
Chris-
willing to do sing a song or?
Yeah, that's my question, really.
Can't sing
Chris,
at all. I can play.
But you don't have to.
guitar.
You just move your mouth.
Wait, you missed it. He plays guitar, Kev. What's up, man? Kev's a
Oh,
musician. Yeah.
You're right. You're a
Right.
musician.
Yeah.
I'll cover for you, bro. Cover for you.
So hopefully you're good. That would help.
It's called
Oh,
auto tune.
Hey, Chris, I have a question for you, but I need to wait because somebody else who, like you, isn't doing anything, isn't putting any effort into anything. Deb, and by that I mean you guys are putting an incredible amount of work in. Deb would like to speak with you.
Okay, hi Chris.
Hi, Deb.
So I caught that you were interested in crop circles. And recently Frank Milbourne mentioned that crop circles may have something to do with ether or the waves above the earth. And I was wondering what your thoughts were on that. He suspected they were being formed by UAPs getting close to the planet and taking energy from the planet.
Taking energy. Cool. What's his name? Frank Melbourne? Does he have?
Frank Milburn
Yes.
is FARNC as opposed to K,
Okay.
and MILBURN. He's a former British intel officer, and before that, he was a British paratrooper.
Cool.
Infantry.
He wrote
Uh,
that article that was about the task force. It's really in detail.
Cool. Yeah, to be honest, my friend here, he's been telling me to look at crop circles for a while. And yeah, I guess what kind of I veered me off was I interviewed Nick Pope because there was crop circles in there, and he was vehemently, he thought it was just a hoax, that was kind of his argument. And I figured he knew a lot, so I guess I just took a back seat. And then I had a patron basically is like, hey man, what about that? You said you're gonna look at crop circles. And then my buddy, interesting to me is how it like mats down, if you can look at how the grass is affected. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'd have to look at ways that it can be matted together. It's
Well, I
difficult
mean-
though. Yeah, are there videos of them forming? Like that would be
Yes.
cool.
Well, so
there
I
is.
guess my question is specifically, what do you think of the possibility of it having to do with the Earth's energy?
Yeah, I mean, I could easily see that. I have no idea, I mean, why would it make like this fancy design though? It just, I guess that's what's weird to me.
I guess some people argue that the ones that are faked are the fancy designs and the really simple ones are like that energy pool.
It's like an energy pool, and it goes in some spectrum or frequency that like affects the biological plants.
Yeah.
I've heard
think
where
it's a
they
cool
also
idea.
where they break at 90-degree angles is something like when matted down is something obviously you could do with a mechanical thing. You could take a piece of wood or something. They've shown videos of how people do it, but when some of these stems are broken at a 90-degree angle, that's something that's very difficult to do with a plant that's live, and flexible.
It's the breaking that was cool.
So I haven't looked into it, so I really don't know anything about crop circles. I don't know if anybody else on the team
It's
has.
cool though. It's good. I've been getting emails and then been getting leads. But so I looked into it a few weeks ago, a few months maybe, and I found a group in the UK. But unfortunately, the main woman who ran everything had died, so she passed away. So, another dead end. Unfortunately, that was bad. That's bad too.
Chris, you've consumed a lot that discussion you had with Tony and Lou. I've told you ad nauseum on several voice messages I sent you. What an amazing conversation and how thought provoking that was. And you brought as much to that table as anybody in that discussion because you've really Like I talked at the beginning, I said, you're a brother in aviation in the Air Force and in open-minded thought. And you really are not like just looking at this from a military guy perspective. And I think everybody out there, if you're thinking about having Chris on your show, should know that you're thinking about the universe and analyzing it and reading things like you read Alexi's book from many different perspectives to try to get a handle on this. Is there something that that after each one of these shows that you're on, you see something that people are missing? Have you seen something that's been missed that people aren't talking about relative to the phenomenon, the origin, if you will?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many wild theories, and I think the truth is probably going to be just as wild. So which wild story are you going to go with?
Well, some of them aren't, though. Like the fact of one penetrating our atmosphere, coming from outside of our orbit, coming in, is something that people have been thinking about for 70 years. But now when you talk about, wow, there could be a base underwater. There could be a dimension where they just sort of appear through a hole. I recently heard about a guy that was talking about that it looked like a slice in the sky opened up and it popped through there or something. So is there one of those that sort of makes you go, does DNA really is something that you think about, that maybe it's some of them are us?
Yeah, I mean, I think about all that stuff. I think about a lot of stuff. Yeah, and I guess, and Nathan got me started on that with the.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, the analytic idealism. That's pretty amazing too. Yeah, and then you hear just crazy story. Yeah, there's so many stories about shared consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that several times lately. It's usually like someone is under it was LSD were the last two people that told me in confidence that they had shared knowledge, consciousness with the person with them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them had a time loop. They said it was a 3-minute time loop that they were both in, and they did it like, I don't know how many thousands of times they said.
Wow.
Well, we've talked about that on other shows. That's the cloud between Max and Sophia, the David Hansen robots. So it's instantaneous. If they're both turned on and they're both connected to the cloud, when Sophia is at a symposium interacting with a human and they tell her something, if Max is turned on, he already knows it. Or as soon as he's turned on, he downloads it from their cloud.
It's a shared cloud memory.
Yes, that's David Hansen's thing, man. It's so freaky. If you ever see like the 60 Minutes piece or the YouTube piece about David Hansen, who Hansen Robotics has moved to Hong Kong, and he has like a little humanoid that looks like a child playing a piano in his apartment in Hong Kong, and he's like, "Oh, this is our daughter," and it'll totally freak you out. Freak you out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird, man. So anyway, I didn't mean to shut down the panel with that one.
No, I mean, you're making me. I want to go a couple different directions here. So, Chris, I'm gonna ask two questions, but the first one is a lot shorter. So, you've spent a lot of time looking at the 3 videos and talking about them. You're probably tired of that. But a question that I had for you, and DJ, you might want to weigh in on this as well. But my understanding with aviators is that when you're in a very operation, there's an economy of language, right? There's kind of a similar lexicon that you kind of learn and adopt, because when you're communicating with each other, it needs to be concise, it needs to be accurate. It doesn't need to be very fluffy. You need to kind of very communicate quickly, right?
Clear, concise, correct.
Exactly. Thank you. Those are the words.
C3
So 3 things that I'm not particularly known for. But with the gimbal video, what I wanted to ask specifically about that, when the person says it's rotating, okay, is that a word that would be used to describe the behavior that is on that video? Because when I look at that, to me, it looks like a bank, not a rotation. And so I didn't know if that, maybe it's just the lexicon they use that word to describe that kind of angular shift or whatever. But to me, it looks like a bank, not a spinning, which is what I think of when I think of rotation. So when they're saying it's rotating, could it mean some other behavior that is not observed in the video?
No, I think that's a common term for rotation. There's a translational line of sight and there's rotational line of sight. So we talk about in those terms, this is translational line of sight, and then this is or rotational. I guess rotation seems like a common term that we use in aviation. I guess.
Perfect.
It's not rotational line of sight, but sorry.
And I just always wondered about that because, sort of in the lore of UFOs, rotation can be spinning as well, not just, sort of banking. But you've cleared that up for me, so I appreciate that. Yeah, DJ.
Well, one thing, if you're looking at a 2D representation of it, and he is looking at it in a dynamic environment, in a 3D environment, and so what he's seeing is, first of all, doesn't have wings. So, but something that's wings that you're at its 6 o'clock aspect, and it banks, you're like, oh, he's in a left bank. But
it's a strange. So I guess let me be clear that it's clear to me what he's saying, but saying it's rotating is a weird word because what he's saying to me is that it's rotating like this or like this, whereas he would say it's turning, it's banking, it's climbing or descending. If it was a common term, so it's a common term that we use to describe motion, right? So I understand what he's saying to me, that it's rotating in some axis, right? But using it in that specific case is weird. That's what he's saying to me. It's weird and it's doing something I can't describe. So I'm saying rotating.
So you think would it normally include an additional qualifier? In other words, like it's rotating left, it's rotating right, it's y-axis, x-axis.
I mean, it's I understand what he's saying, and he's saying it's moving he's using the word rotate, which is weird to me in that context, because I understand what he's saying by rotate, meaning it's rotating. We use that. That's a normal term. Rotating about your axis or rotating vertically or so then it's a normal term, but using it in that instance is weird to me, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah, because there's no wing form. That's I think why he used rotating, because if he saw a wing form and he from a certain aspect, he'd say it's in a bank. But because he's not seeing a wing form, but he is seeing that it's a flat, looks like a flat disc shape or something like that. I think that's why he used the word rotation, because we couldn't do that if we had something like with propellers on it, like a drone. You wouldn't be able to make it go in like a 90-degree bank like that.
And we should. I mean, I want to look at it. So I went in this series debate, went into its rotating glare. Finally decided on it's probably rotating based on the could be movements of the pod. At least I can't prove it isn't. But again, this is kind of the debunking, which I think we should be debunking these things, right? To poke for holes and make sure we get to the truth. But it should also be noted that Ryan Graves made this whole additional presentation on it, saying that there was 3 other pilots there. They all saw it. He tracked their formations. Basically, the gimbal object stopped and then reversed course. And they found these 5 other objects flying in a V formation. It's kind of like we don't talk about that. But that's actually pretty good. Like it explains everything. Right. And now we're arguing about, does it rotate or does it spin? It's like, well, what about the 4 guys that saw it flying and stopping in midair and reversing direction? It's completely. I think we're kind of like getting distracted on this.
That's the idea. That's the idea of the
is to get. I would say look at Ryan Graves when he made this whole presentation on it, which he must have gotten approval from somebody. He had to have been approved to release that information, and it's pretty good. It goes through exactly what they saw. They saw it's not just this one instance that he recorded. They recorded the video of. I think that's it. Yeah, great points. Let's look at the big picture, I guess.
Yeah, no, and I agree, but it does sort of speak though to the things that we as a society look at and say, this is more trustworthy than this. So in the past, I think we could say for people who are experts at a thing saying it's doing a certain thing, we would put greater weight in that testimony than a video. Right. But we've kind of, in some ways, transitioned to a time where it's like, no, like, I don't, like, it's the death of expertise, right? I don't care about the experts. It's just what I'm looking at with my eyeballs, and I'm just feeling like that's not as, I don't care what they said. It's what I'm looking at,
Yeah. It's what a video game creator can prove about a military system.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's ultimately should be about open source discussion. But I think we could be discussing that other section. When the gimbal object is flying in formation with these other, I think it was 5 objects in a V formation. You think about the V formation. I talk to people all the time talking about orbs in a V formation, and you look at Phoenix lights in a V formation. So I'd say just I'm not engaging. I'm listening to Mick West and the debunkers for their salient points. But we're just moving on. You go past, and that's how we go mainstream, Kevin, is go past them. Don't get debunked down in this, like, we're just sitting in the, the doldrums, we want to find evidence, like, let's get it. If we're all adhering to the mission, like, they can't stop everybody, Yeah. I think that's how you go mainstream.
Totally.
Coming,
well, I'm going to save my second question to later, but it's going to be about the consciousness stuff. I want to get into that if we can. But Kevin, I want you to go next. So.
All right. Well, I think it's interesting what the public is now getting. Like, we're getting a lot of stuff on the news. You're seeing all this stuff about experiencers reporting physiological effects. All that stuff. The 6 observable, the stuff that was in the NDAA, the physiological effects, and then you have the Havana syndrome stuff coming out. And I've read stuff from Frank Milburn, about the weaponized microwave emitters. So with that being said, with the weaponized, I need your help with this as a chemist. So would wearing a suit lined with popcorn seeds be a visible early warning system for for the microwave weapons? Like, hey, my suit is popping. It's time to take cover, bro. Or hey, it's popping. Maybe we should throw a blanket over that guy and get away, or get some butter.
Get the butter, yeah.
At least you have a snack while you wait for an ambulance. I think it's a good idea.
This is more of a reason to keep one of those lead-lined blankets that they have in the X-ray labs in
Right.
your car. So I think we should all have one of those. That's a good
Right.
idea. Chris, a suit filled with unpopped popcorn. Do you
Yeah.
think that could be beneficial for those folks in Cuba that are dealing with these sonic attacks and so forth?
Could be.
It seems like a great idea.
All right.
I think so.
All right. Nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, but I will point out one thing, right? If it's hot enough to pop the popcorn, right?
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure you'll be burning well before that. You'll feel the heat.
Oh, Chris, do you know at what frequency popcorn pops? Huh? I
No,
didn't think
hot?
so. Go ahead, Deb.
Microwave
boiling.
seeds.
Okay.
Got to
well,
be a temperature.
First of all, I love popcorn. Second of all, I just wanted to comment that I watched your video about the range Fowler debriefs that came out, and I was
Cool.
really enjoying the fact that there was another term for UAPs being used. Yay!
What was
that
it?
I'm sorry.
What was
What's
the
the
term? I'm
term?
sorry.
Range Fowlers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to ask if you had taken a look at the NSAs and were considering to do the same thing for their documents, which are primarily radar reads.
I didn't know about him. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing to do.
Yeah, because for anyone who hasn't looked, they do describe some things related to objects, but a lot of it is just about altitude and radar.
Cool. So this is what is it? The NSA's
Yes, the NSA UFO documents.
UFO documents. Okay, I'll try and get them. Yeah, that's what on the Discord. If people share them on there, I get stuff like that. It's 355 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, for popcorn?
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, that would be a
Could get
problem.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a problem. Kev, it's a good thought, but
Back
he's
to the
saying
drawing
it's,
board.
yeah, it's heat. It's not
I'll
a
check it out.
specific. Okay.
Yeah, I'll check out the UFO document. Cool.
I can send you a link.
Dev's got a link for you.
I do like it because well, the NSA, I wonder, that'd be interesting to see. Yeah. I was thinking about the ballistic missile defense system or the anti-ballistic missile defense system. Basically, that's what they were picking up the Tic Tacs with. So before the Nimitz, before the Nimitz engagement, they were seeing these coming from space, these contacts, 15 to 20 contacts.
Where'd you get that from? Because I'm interested in that. Where did you?
Yeah,
get
that's Kevin Day. He
Okay.
says it in it's in Kevin Knuth's
Mhm.
write up on it. He gives the data on it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We keep focusing on, does it accelerate at an accelerated speed? In this video, well, did it come down from space in groups of 15 to 20? That's more important, I think.
I would say so.
So 15 to 20, yeah, basically they were picking them up from the ballistic missile defense system or anti-ballistic missile defense system. And, what are these things? And then they would go to, and then when they get below 80,000 feet, then the Spy 1 radar would see it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were picking, again, 15, 20 contacts going to 28,000 feet. And just like doing this weird, like along a latitude line. You were asking about, Deb, you were asking about the crop circles and energy.
Yep.
It's kind of interesting to me that the Tic Tacs are at 28,000 feet and then they just flow in this slow track south, almost like they're like charging up or something, or it just seems weird to me in relation to the Earth. And then they go down to like the sea level right above 50 feet, and then they go up and they go down. Maybe they go down another level or something. And, yeah, it's just kind of weird levels. What's up with the level? Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me.
What's up with the burbling water as they were floating above the water? What was going on there? I mean, that's
exactly
something that we don't know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to think about those things, rather than kind of hone in on all these little minute did it or did nots.
Oh, I mean, we're way past. It's like Lou says, when whether or not the phenomenon exists, we're way past that. Those guys talking about, is it real? Is it not? Did it I'm not even. I don't have time or energy to put into that. To what they say about that. I'm more interested in what is it doing. How is it interacting with the water? Is that an extraction of energy? Is that an exchange of information or data, or via connection with some sort of a vessel that was under the water that they control? Why are they in formation? What does that mean? I mean, obviously they're surveilling us, I would think. Just being there is surveillance, but what for? What data are they gathering? Are they watching are they looking at the emitters that happen as that's resultant of nuclear power on these ships? There's certain energy and frequencies that are created by a nuclear reactor, and maybe they're receiving those I don't want to say signals, but they're receiving those freaks and saying, okay, yeah, they're just doing X and not Y.
What's up with all the hotspots, though? You see like Skinwalker Ranch. You got the Vernal area, or the Uintah Basin.
Mm-hmm.
You have L.A. That could be it's just over there by the water. But Arizona, everybody talks about. There seems to be like these areas. UK seems to have a lot of it. Is it to certain areas like drawn into the ground? If you look at why did people build pyramids? Now Alexei's all about pyramids, man. I don't know. We're maybe have to go to Egypt or something. It's like Indiana Jones, dude. I was like, I'm gonna retire to being a fighter pilot, man. It's just too stressful. Spend time with my family.
You gotta get the hat,
like,
though.
all right, man. We need you to go into this pyramid.
I was just studying a little bit about that last night, about Giza and the Grand Pyramid and all that. It's endlessly fascinating.
Yeah, why is there all pyramids all around? I mean, the Mayans weren't in contact with the Egyptian. I think they're separated by a few thousand years, but Yeah. So what is with the pyramids? What's with the localities? That's kind of interesting to me as well.
Let's go around the panel with both those questions, the hot spots and the pyramids. Let's go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah. Well, the Earth, like the magnetic, the iron-rich core or whatever. Obviously, there's something going on with the Earth and its magnetic, not only internally, but the fields that it creates around it. Right? There's some sort of field effects that impact the atmosphere and things like that. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of ability to harness that or channel that, or it's attractive for some reason. I don't really know. I mean, that's to me, like, that's why we need this funding, why we need this to do the science. I think the scientific community kind of is going to look at that and go, what's the point of looking at this? Why would we spend time investigating it? But these are the sort of like questions that I think would be worth exploring more. So I don't know. I mean, I don't have an answer to that, but there clearly are anomalies within our atmosphere and within our core itself. Like they just recently talked about, there was some sort of massive. I forget how they quantified it, but it's a differentiation in the core of the Earth. And the surface of the Earth is just so small compared to like everything that's inside of it. I'm not trying to get fantastical. It's just
It's
like
true,
just a fact. There's just a ton of
There's a
stuff
lot of mass and
inside the
matter.
planet. Way more than
Yeah.
it is on the outside. So I don't know.
And we just I helped my daughter with a 7th grade science experiment, right? Where she had to build the Earth again. And it hasn't changed, right? It's still like, it's just this ball, right? It's like the core.
Yep.
And then there's like thousands and thousands of miles, right? And then it's like, oh, this is the mantle, or and then it's like, okay, the crust. Like we haven't even like.
Well, we can't even drill below a certain
years.
level, like it's difficult for us. Everything that we can surmise about the interior of our planet is really just through like seismic waves and all these kind of different technologies that we secondhand observe what's going on there, or we can't firsthand observe it.
Yeah, and before I mean, obviously the government thought it was interesting enough to spend multi-million dollars and give Bob Bigelow a contract and purchase that, or actually they purchased the property and then they sold it to Bigelow. So obviously there was something there that they thought was compelling. They sent a number of different types of experts out there. So there's definitely something there, Nathan. What's your take, Kev, on hotspots and what was the other one, Nathan? The Earth's the pyramids. Yeah, the reason, the purpose that those particular structures have been built.
So the purpose of the pyramids, I mean, the archaeologists are telling us that the purpose of it were tombs. Yet, if you look at their actual tombs, they have writings, they have carvings, they have memorials. But in the pyramids, the walls don't have any of those things. So I think there was a definite function. I don't know what that was. Also, beneath the pyramids, supposedly there's still tunnels, and supposedly the tunnels that connect to the other pyramids, and all kinds of stuff going on. Also, what needs to be looked at is the construction. I think that's more important. How was it built? How did they have the technology? I mean, you look at Baalbek, you've got 1,500-ton blocks. How are those moved? Those are the foundation stones. Those are the things that really get me. As far as the function of it, I could say I don't know, and I can say probably our historians don't know either. What's your opinion on the pyramids?
We're going to get
ancient structures.
We're going to get back to Chris. I want to get Deb in here because she had something, and I just want to say, I mean, obviously. We spoke about the Masonic Order a couple weeks ago with John. The Washington Monument has a pyramid on top of it. It's a significant structure in the Masonic Order. Our money has a pyramid with the eyeball in it as well.
Yeah, what's up with it?
And then, so I just want to throw that out there just for food for thought. Debs.
Okay, so I'm going to propose a different idea with pyramids.
Please.
So I do think there was a spiritual connection, and they were kind of doing a message with the different sides, like each side might have represented something. But to me, it could be an antenna. They were literally trying to project something into the sky. So that's the impression that I get from pyramids, and I've actually been to them, so it's kind of cool that I can comment on them now. But I also wanted to comment on the hotspots. A lot of hotspots are actually areas with nuclear fallout. Not just areas that have magnetic connections, but like people talk about Skinwalker, that whole area got fallout because they were close enough to the triangle of testing.
Oh, to like New Mexico.
Yep.
Hmm.
That's why I think there's also still radiation on the ranch.
Okay, that's a good one. Chris, your take.
I'm going with Debs.
NFTs and DO double G. All right, Nathan.
Well,
what
I
do you
have
got?
heard it's interesting, yeah, that they can align amazing with the stars. That was always so cool to me.
Yeah,
That,
Osiris. Yeah.
That seemed to line up with like the Mayans. They had their pyramids were somehow lined up, pointed at certain star systems. That seems pretty cool to me. You know, maybe it like aligns every 2,168 years or something, you know? And if you're in that pyramid, like this beam of light, laser light comes out. I don't know. I mean, who knows, man?
Well, to
UFOs
also,
are real.
Chris, if they align the corners of the pyramid to the cardinal directions, and yet compasses weren't invented yet, so
Yeah.
it's not magnetic north, right? But it's north, and they're off by a couple of degrees. I can't
It's like
remember, a couple of
1/16
seconds.
Oh,
or
it's
something.
aligned magnetic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know.
yeah,
So that's one of the construction methods, the
Mhm.
magnetics.
yeah. They did it. They somehow figured out, north, south, east, west, and aligned the triangle that way. Yet they did it without having the benefit of a compass that we know of, because the sun.
It
may
would
have
be
been the
cool if it
compass.
was an antenna. That sounds cool. Or some sort of transmitter.
Or receiver.
Yeah.
What if it was a receiver?
Yeah. Well, a transmitter is usually a receiver, I think. Or,
It isn't radar. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Like an amplifier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amplifier. There you go. It's not the receiver or the transmitter, it's an amplifier. So it's like a scalar wave. That's Alexei's kind of thing, is that the magic box. Have you heard of this?
Mm-mm.
The magic square. It's a magic square. Do you imagine like a Sudoku of 4 lines and 4 lines, and each row adds up to the same number all the way around. Does that make sense? Called the magic square is 34. It's like
Sacred geometry.
yeah. So the magic square, if you do it this certain way, 34, 34, 34 is all the way around, and then inside of each side of each 25% of it adds up to, I don't know, the same or something. It's like super symmetrical, basically, called the magic square. Well, it kind of gives you a way to do a scalar spin up if you follow it, because it'll be like number one. Number one. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way around, it makes a scalar wave, and so that is what Alexei is. I think, is basically if you can get the right ratio, which I think is 1 to 4, you can, basically create an interdimensional telescope or something.
Oh,
Kind of the idea.
Is that what he's doing? Is that what his angle of your partnership?
I don't know. He said we need to talk about pyramids. That's the way. At the end, it's like we gotta go. No, our partnership is about going to space and NFTs and doing cool stuff like that. That's what we're working on.
Going to space.
Yes. So he's on the NFT project as well. So if our plans go right, you'll see him at UFO Disclosure. Sorry, the other way.
Tell us about it.
Yes.
Tell us about him a little bit.
Alexei, or Alexei is awesome, man. He's he basically has a physics background, and then he kind of went off into the woods and meditated for I don't know how many months, years. Now he's back. But he had a lot of delusions.
The Henry David
man.
Thoreau of physics. Okay.
He's a deep dude, man. Yeah, exactly. So you basically get, he's able to meditate super well, and he can communicate with known things. I don't know.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I don't know. I like talking to him. I like his energy. I like he's interested in. He has ambitious goals to help humanity,
Mhm.
and yeah, I respect that. And yeah, plus he's done a lot of cool stuff. So, and he opened my mind to a lot of things. About his basic argument is that you could argue we're inside of a black hole.
Mhm.
We're just orbiting at different ranges from the center, right? And your frequency is related to your wavelength, right?
Hmm.
So we're all at the same basic wavelength, which is about the speed of light. That's what our acceleration is towards time. So he says basically everybody's accelerating towards the center of the black hole at the speed of light. So we're all orbiting the same. We come into synchronicities together, and that's how we can manifest and interact with each other.
And how big is our solar system in relation to the size of the black hole that we're in his estimation?
I think it's all basically it says we're all kind of the same in the same space, kind of is what I understand. Is that you can affect affects everything else at an infinite distance. It's just very small, far away, but still affects it.
So that supports that theory that that UFOs turned up when there was a nuclear explosion testing in New Mexico that got their attention, because though they may have been at an infinite distance away, they were aware. There was that sort of tremor in the force, to use a Star Warsism.
Yeah, that
So
would
that's
basically that makes sense. Basically, we're all a lot closer than you think. Everything's a lot closer than you think. It's just in a different dimension, and that's my argument. It's a size dimension based on orbiting inside of a black hole. That's just one. Yeah, that's his. I don't know the black hole thing. That's his. Mine is we're just inside of. You can see the dimensions, right? We can see smaller dimensions of life, and we can see. I argue we can see larger dimensions of life. We just assume it's dark matter.
What larger dimensions of life are you referring to?
The easiest one to see is the nation. I think is probably the easiest, or corporations. So the humans basically were organized into small groups. If you can imagine back when we were tribes, it's like a little amoeba, and that basically is that whatever you want to call that superorganism or next dimension of life, I call it, has organized now into what we see as modern nations, cities, corporations, groups. So that's the easiest, I think, larger dimension of life is like the nation you're in. You're born in it, you die. You get a social security number. You have to go to school to fill certain roles in the society, right? Just like your cells. Unfortunately, if you end up in your digestive system, you're only going to live like 4 days, right? You're out in the front lines. If you're a neuron, man, you're up on the top. You're that 1%. You live forever, right? Until the whole organism dies. And I think the problem is that the organisms above us don't realize that we're here. Or they don't give a shit. They're not sentient. They have small neural networks. So that's what I think. I think it keeps going as well. So when you asked about DNA, different levels, I think likely we are surrounded by probably billions or trillions of other seed worlds like our own. Normally when we find out stuff, the number's just mind blowing, and we just can't believe it. So I think we're going to look around and be like, oh, there's another solar system over there, and there's another solar, like that's what always happens. And then we're like, let's go there. We go and we find ourselves and we're like, no shit, like it's the same thing. You're here too. How did you get here? And they're like, we came, back in the whatever, when we were dinosaurs.
First dark age, right?
Yeah. The first dark age, if it's humans again. I think it's usually much bigger than we can imagine. And we're not the center. That would be my guess. And so I think right now, if you're just inside of a large organism, you're forced to do it. I see the similarities with YouTube as well. It's an amazing similarity with the brain. If you look in your brain, actually, your neurons are tiny little processors. So they're thresholds, right? So they process the information. Whereas if you're just sending information, it's communication, right? So you have two types of kind of information. You have sending it communication wise, right? You don't have to change it. You can just send it. But if you're going to change it now, you're going to process it. So that's what your brain actually does. Your little neurons, right? They reach through the neural network as it comes up. It reaches a threshold and then it passes it on to the rest of the network. But if you look at me, like as a YouTuber, and you guys as also YouTubers, I receive information, right? I just receive it. And then I process it using my neural network systems, right? And then I disperse it back out in the network, right? And like as I get more, if I get more subs, right, now I'm like higher up in the network, But if you imagine, it's like this, you can see a neural network forming, and I think it's awesome. I think that will be the next dimensional level.
I could bounce this again. I'm going to want to talk about simulation theory relative to this, but I got to pass it over to my brother, Money Nathan.
There's so many directions I want to take this conversation, but I'm going to go back to the consciousness one. That's what you touched on earlier, and since we are both fans of Bernardo Castro, I think we can touch on that a little bit. So for those who are not familiar with the idea, right, we have kind of two main, just we'll set this up real quick. There are two main sort of metaphysical concepts. There's materialism, which is the one that we all are the most familiar with. The world reality is comprised of matter. We can reduce that all the way down to the tiny little sort of things that quarks and whatever things that our physics say exist. And consciousness comes out of interactions that occur amongst sort of aggregating bits of matter. We don't quite know how it works, but that's the general concept. Brains create our consciousness. Idealism is the sort of a different way of looking at this issue. It's saying that we don't have direct experience of matter. All we have is our experience itself. And experience is thus the foundation of what all there really is. Matter is really just a kind of a projection of mind. It's not a real thing. It's something that we just by being thinking things sort of manifest in a way. But it's a different way of thinking about the UFO and not just the UFO problem, but of sort of what we hear and sort of consciousness research itself. And I don't know to what degree you've looked at things like the life after death kinds of studies, or the things that the Bigelow Institute for Consciousness Studies. So the winner of that contest, if you haven't read it, I would encourage everybody to take a look at it, is Dr. Jeffrey Mishlow. He wrote a 100-page PDF. It's free. It's got a ton of videos on it. But what he basically does is he goes through all of the sort of evidence for the survival of consciousness after death. And honestly, to me, that evidence is more compelling than the UFO evidence. And so what idealists, I think, are going to do is they're going to take this notion of consciousness being fundamental, and they're going to map onto all of these different things: paranormality, high strangeness, survival of consciousness, UFOs, and say, look, it's all coming from mind, right? It's all stemming from mind. I know you've gotten into this recently and kind of pursuing it. And do you feel like it meshes well with the concept you just talked about, this sort of larger organism, this kind of layering up sort of notion? Do you think that these things do work well together?
I do. I don't. I've been trying to find any things that don't work, and things that do work, obviously. But really, to shoot a theory down is, things that don't work, obvious things that don't work. And when I analyzed analytic idealism, I took it as they're kind of opposites. Materialism is the material world are the things that our biological machinery ultimately creates the experience that we're undergoing.
Right.
That's kind of what I understand. And then what I understood from idealism is it goes the other way. Is that actually some extra force, some extra thing, extra physical, is actually what's driving the bottom and driving all the physics and everything. So I think of them kind of as two as opposing, really opposite argument. I don't think you can believe one and believe the other.
Right.
So they're mutually exclusive. But I do think that the scales are so mind-boggling. When you just consider looking down how many cells make you up. It's insane, man.
Right.
You know, I don't think anyone can really grasp that. And that's not even going down to the smaller levels. You know, it's just the cellular level. And then when you go up, the scale is just so unbelievable, that it does seem like it would something extrasensory. Yeah, it seems like the type of thing of wavelengths just makes more sense, I guess, to my brain that it's possible.
But there are different layers of cognition, is sort of what you would say as well, right? So that there's, there's our conscious experience of being Chris, of Nathan, of DJ, right? But there's a higher conscious experience that is in some ways an aggregate of some of these individualized experiences.
Yes. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. You know, I watched after I did that whole analytic idealism course. I listened to Sam Harris. He gave on Lex Friedman. He talked about free will, and he says, you know, it doesn't exist, and because he's able to meditate, like again, super low, and he can the next word that comes out, you can't actually see where it's coming. The next thought, so you don't really have free will, at least over your thoughts. And what I was thinking is, if you're talking about actually where you think about where we come from, right? You're actually grown at the quantum level, one sperm cell, right, with one egg. All it is like that one bit of DNA. So you're actually grown. We're each grown from the quantum level up to this dimension that we're in now. And so I think that maybe that's where consciousness is just at a lower dimensional level, and it grows into our size, and then we will continue to grow, where I think we may be required for the nation to be conscious. Like you mentioned, I don't think rocks and things like that are things that that I can't define as life, I guess, maybe aren't conscious, but so yeah, I think it would be just an extension of us into longer wavelengths.
So just one quick follow-up: is our technological progress, is it a you could argue in this model that we're already interconnected, we're already sharing a sort of conscious experience without technology, but because of our technology, we're manifesting an interconnected conscious experience that is in some ways synthetic or different than how we're doing it just naturally. So, could we have this sort of divergence in a way, like where there's like a technological emergence of conscious experience and our already existing conscious experience that doesn't rely on technology?
Well, I think people assume that technology is not nature, right? But everything that you see around you was made from on Earth,
right?
Yeah.
So it's just what we see it as at our dimensional level. Right, if you go down into your cytoplasm of each of your little cells, it's not going to look like probably what you're expecting. Right. It may not even look natural, right? But it is. The roads that we created are natural, came from Earth.
Right. That's a great point, because we look in
Yeah.
terms of organic and synthetic, but for that matter, everything is synthetic that we created from that standpoint. That's not.
It's made out of the same things as
Earth
us. It's made out of the same things as us. It looks different.
We're making a semantic differentiation. There's no real differentiation.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
The problem is that we see it as a differentiation, but it's just a different dimension of organization. You're made out of minerals and liquids and basic
Carbon.
inorganic or organic chemicals, right? It's made out of minerals. If you look at it in America or whatever, some nations made out of minerals, liquids, organic, and inorganic chemicals, right? It's made out of the same stuff. It's just we think we're the shit, right? We think we're the end all be all. And I think we are, actually. I think it's all related. I think we are kind of from the same. I believe, at least the analytic idealism seems the most logical to me. My dog, he was just dreaming. He's like running in his sleep, I mean, what is that? We're just like, yeah, it's some other thing, you know.
Mhm.
He's obviously having some sort of conscious
Experience.
experience. The dog. I
Absolutely.
mean, you look into their eyes, man, and you see fear, and
Mhm.
so there's something
Emotion.
there. There's experience. You know, when we think animals don't communicate, it's like so stupid. You know,
Oh, man,
of course
yeah.
they communicate.
Mhm.
We don't understand them yet. I think we will.
Yeah.
Maybe they communicate with telepathic. You know, maybe your dog just talk to each other telepathically, and barking is just like more effective for them or something.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, we have no idea. Yeah, but I mean, I think we're learning, and I never expected we would ever get this far in my lifetime. You know, it's and you see how fast it's changing.
Right.
Yeah, so I think we're going to have a lot of understanding happen quickly. Artificial intelligence is just going to keep pushing.
Mhm.
You know, just look at what you can do with Google. I mean, you can ask it for anything. Information is open and free. I mean, we get hit by enough energy every day to destroy the earth like 100 times over. We have enough energy, everybody. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's a solvable problem, and maybe this UAP thing, and you know, followed right on the top of COVID. You
Mhm.
know, just kind of shocked everybody, and now it's like, all right, maybe we can stop shooting each other and doing stupid shit. Probably not,
Mhm.
right? Probably not, but
Yeah. Probably
we
not.
can try.
Because it doesn't take many people to, you know, if you talk about a one person like Putin, you're talking about one individual can make a decision and override, you know, hundreds of millions of people that live in his country, and maybe 3/4 of them, and I'm just throwing a number out there, I don't know that that number's true, do not want to do what he wants to do, but he gets to make that decision. And when you have that much power in one human being, it can be very, very dangerous, because
I
their
mean,
whims, their
yeah.
ego, their hopes, their dreams, their thought, their sense of self, and what they seek to how they want to be perceived, can inform the decision they make that costs, you know, who knows how many lives that's going to cost.
I think it's much more complicated. I think this is like a cartoonish version that we get in our own society in the U.S. Because you talk to Russian people, they say the exact same thing on the opposite side.
It could
They
be.
say
No,
that
I'm not.
NATO's encroaching on us.
It's not exclusive. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that it could be our country. It could be. I get what
No,
you're saying.
I'm
but one
saying it
person,
was Russia made Russia, the country, led by supposedly Putin, right? Russia made the decision. I think it was an emotional one because it was losing, like it was being ripped. Ukraine was being ripped from it. It's an emotional decision. You know, it was I'm gonna die if I don't invade Ukraine and bring it back, stop it from leaving. Right? Look at when do all the wars happen? When somebody goes to leave, you know. If Texas Texas is like, hey, I'm gonna leave and join the new Russian Russian conglomerate, we would attack, man. The rest of America would attack Texas, 100%. And it doesn't matter. And they would say the same thing. Can you believe Biden is crazy? And because that's what their news would tell them,
Mhm.
and they would believe it because let's look over there, everybody. You know, like they haven't been. All of a sudden, everybody's an expert on Russia. Probably couldn't pick Ukraine on a map. You know, no, I think I think Russia did it because they thought they were going to die. Russia thought they were going to die.
Right. Well, rationality means different things based on different systems, right? So but it's still a similar type of behavior, right? So our system has certain inputs, certain cultural justifications, and because we're steeped in it, we look at certain decisions and say that's rational, meaning that is consistent with this system that we find ourselves in, or it's inconsistent with it. And the truth is that this is happening everywhere around the globe on small levels and macro levels. And when you're not part of that system, it's easy to look at that and go, that's irrational, like that doesn't make any sense. But I think what you're saying is there is to a certain degree a level of relativism at work. It's not that just it's total madness. It's not complete insanity. It's insanity to us, from our system, And I also want to be careful to say that it's not, there are legitimately and objectively terrible things, regardless of the system that you might find yourself in. And, hurting people, killing people, innocent people is not a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I just killed like, I don't know, 5 million of my cells.
Right.
I don't care until it starts like affecting my ability at my level to actually function.
Right.
That's why you're like, how could it's a machine? I mean, it's an organic cybernetic giant machine. Yeah. And it's to me, it seems so obvious when you start looking at it in that light, but it's hard to look past your own humanity,
Mm-hmm.
These have got to be quick hitters because we only have about 6 minutes left with you. So let's get Kevin in there, and then Debs, please.
Okay. So it's funny because I've been joking about free will versus determinism in every episode, and you guys were just talking about it. So I'm like, so you're obviously a deterministic. You believe that all behavior has a cause and is predictable. So in your model,
I don't know.
you're
Actually,
talking,
I don't know about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Well, determinism is the opposite of free will. So.
Yeah, that's what Sam Harris says. I don't know actually.
Oh, so okay? Where
do
you stand? That would be a question then.
I don't know the full question.
Okay.
I don't think. I'm not sold on free will. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was it. That was a quick question.
Gotcha.
Or is there free will? Or
my question is, well, do you believe, that there's a free will, or do you think that all behavior has a cause and is thus predictable? Do you think that we're just creatures of our environments?
I don't know. I hope not.
I hope not.
It would be really boring.
Right.
I doubt it. I think we're definitely creatures of our environment. But I think the thoughts and everything come, from somewhere else. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
If we can prove this link, telepathy, if it does actually exist, that Radon is correct, these scientific studies are correct. RVing, certainly, I mean, the government used it for 30 years, remote viewing.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a telepathic link, then that would suggest to me that there's some extra physical thing.
Yeah. So does that experiment too you were talking about earlier? That kind of proves it, because it was actually thought would move the beam over,
Yes.
That kind of proves something too. Consciousness, maybe a carrier wave. You're theorizing. I think it's really interesting that you said that.
Yeah, I think. Well, I know at the end of the day, I just want to. I think most people just want to have a happy life with their families, and I think that it doesn't even matter what the answer is at the end of the day. If we achieve that and people can have a meaningful life, then does free will, where does it come from, even really matter? I don't know. I certainly feel like so what I think is that the future doesn't really exist. It's basically just probabilities that can happen. Basically waves. I think that's where the future is quantum, essentially, where it's not so set. Maybe there's a certain probability function you can end up in, but it's not set until it becomes the now, right? Until we manifest it, or until the universe actually observes it somehow. So I think that's where the information may be changing, right? So if information is just being sent, it's not changing. Maybe that's waves, right? Because that's why you want to use waves to send information. That's why we use lasers and such like that to send information, because you can stack waves. You can just stack them. So you can just continue to stack communication and energy. But you can't when it's a particle, right? We can't stack particles, at least that we know of. So that's where we're hitting together. And so maybe that's where it's processing. Maybe like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is real. And
42.
Processing it, yeah. And that it requires us is to process the information and to make it real, I guess, or to affect it for meaning, I guess.
I love it.
Past, we can change the
love it.
past. That would be my question: is can we change the past?
Well, Bill and Ted obviously proved that you can, so I think that's been solved. But
We do, right? We rewrite it.
definitely,
write the past
you're
different.
right in history, but you're
We
right. I
change the
love
past
it.
all the time, man.
I
Past is
love it.
changeable. Past is
love it.
changeable. The future
But-
doesn't exist. The past is changeable, and the now, who knows what the hell it is? That's what it is.
Debs, you have the last question, my dear.
I know. I have all this time, so I'm just
No,
going to
we-
ask you about
Yeah.
the life, the universe, and everything. But no, we're good. You already said 42. So, I think I'll just ask if you got to go to Turkey and explore that because you were really interested in that
Yes.
case.
I really hope this summer. I actually, at the last conference, I went to Paris for the NFT conference, and I met some guys in Turkey. Some really friendly. Of course, they're super friendly, and they said it's full up. Come, it's safe. They'll help me out, and I think I can do it this summer for sure. I'll go for sure. I'm trying to get my family to go, but maybe just me.
About that particular craft, that video of the craft where apparent beings were visible.
They had 3 summers, 2007, 8, and 9 in Turkey where they had mass sightings. So it wasn't just the videos. There's a lot of video, which is interesting to me. But supposedly there was a lot of other sightings as well.
I think there'd be a lot of value if you do to the community if you do get to go there. Chris, if you could take these the last couple seconds or minutes here, if you wish to put out whatever you'd like to the community, everything that you're involved in.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, the biggest thing right now is to build an open source community on Discord where people can come and contribute and be respected, be able to talk about these things. You can be anonymous on Discord. Your digital ID will be remembered. You don't have to link that with you. So just come and participate. That would be the biggest thing. And we need everything, right? We need the people that have the ideas. We need the experiences there to actually give their experiences. People with evidence, people that have analysis capabilities. The idea is it's a community, and then I'm gonna put the funding there through the NFTs. So people can invest. I believe it'll return. I don't want to leverage my audience or whatever. I'm not trying. I don't want to sell to people. But I do want to affect the needle. I want to move the needle. And I think we're in a unique opportunity here. I didn't want to actually build a company and do all this stuff till my kids got out of high school, but the opportunity is just too great. Like Web3's coming, we can leverage it. We can actually move the needle. But it's going to take everybody. So that's what I would say is, UAP Society, come contribute, just in some way, hang out. That would be the best. Discord.
Go check out Chris Lehto. It's at Chris Otis 78 on Twitter, which would tell you that he's younger than me by 11 years, but who's counting?
Great.
It's the skincare.
It's the DJ skincare formula,
That's
which
so awesome.
I'd be happy to send some to Chris over in Portugal. Only put it on at night. Do not put it out on when you're going out in the sun.
I'll be in Utah. They're flying me to Utah. So guys, support the conference. Yeah, they paid for it. I don't think they're making any money, man. So the tickets, you can come in person. I'll be there. I think it's VIP tickets may still be available, at least the live stream.
I'm having my hip replaced, so I'd probably be more likely to stream. But
it's cool. Yeah, Travis Taylor. We'll have Avi Loeb. I heard there's going to be from the Cousin Brothers. There's going to be a Disclosure movie played. I guess their upcoming movie. So it should be exciting.
Yeah,
Cool.
From a personal standpoint, coming from the background that we both come from, I'm very, very proud of you and what you're doing and the way that you reflect credit on us. So I thank you for that. Please check out Chris. He's dope. Give us a like and a subscribe for all this work we putting in. That's all we gonna ask of you. So for Mr. Chris Lehto, the F-16 pilot, from Money Nathan, Kevin, and Debs, this is DJ saying peace out, one love, and we'll see you down the road. We're always wondering what's up around the bend.
Peace.
Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for all your viewers. It's cool.
Anytime, man.